with the beginning part.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I hope you're having a fantastic Thanksgiving today. Um, yeah, it's a little bit of a strange one for me. I've never been one for Thanksgiving because I've never really been in America. I had Canada for 2 years, and we did a little bit of a Thanksgiving there. But it's never been a holiday that we celebrate down in Australia, really. So I understand it's about giving thanks and appreciation, and I think that's perfectly in line with our desire to find gratitude every morning, hopefully every morning and every night, depending on how much you're practicing the process. But today, I want to give thanks to everyone who's been showing up on the calls today. We do have a smaller group this morning because I believe lots of people are having a bit of a sleep in. It's a bank holiday. Most of my traders are taking the day off because that's the luxury of what we can do. And I think a lot of people are spending time with family. So to those people who are not on this morning or are listening on the podcast, hope you really enjoy your time with your family. Give them big hugs and big cuddles because, as you may know, I live on the other side of the world to my family. I do have my precious, precious son and my lovely fiance here with me, but the rest of my family, which is quite a big family, we often have big gatherings and meetings and stuff like Christmas time. They live on the other side of the world. So cherish your family, love them, give them all the appreciation they deserve, especially if, send your mum a message. If you're the kind of person who doesn't get in contact too much, this is the perfect day just to send an appreciation message, a message of gratitude. Thanks, mum, for all you've done. All mothers out there carrying babies for 9 months and what they do afterwards, it's all very incredible. And I'm learning that firsthand as I watch my little son grow up and my fiance do all the mothering that she's been doing. And so finding gratitude and thanks for those people in our life is very, very important. So today I'm very grateful for my lovely fiance, for my mother especially, for my father too, and my sister and all family out there. And I'm just very grateful to have a community that keeps showing up every morning. It's lovely to have a group on here and a community that's growing. So to all those people who are here, thank you, thank you, thank you. But today we are Thursday, and that is where we hear from the lovely Deanna. And so I'm going to hand it over to her, and she can share what she's got to share with us today.
Well, thank you, Jake. Yes, I see. We can get ourselves started. I appreciate the intro. Thank you for those kind words. And if anyone wants to begin as we do our other days of the week with any gratitude, please do that. Put that into the chats. Maybe you already have. I haven't really been taking a look. Oh yeah, I see we do have some individuals that have already put in things are grateful today and always. I see that Lorraine, grateful for the quiet time in the morning to study and learn. It sounds like a great way to start the day. And yeah, good morning to each of you. Thank you for joining in. So I'm going to get going. If there's any other gratitude, by all means, include it in the chat. And today I'm going to go through, I'm just going to share my screen. I was making sure I could do that, and it looks like I can. So I'm going to share let's see here. I'm going to share, I don't know if I can make that bigger. It does not look like it. But oh, maybe. Here we go. Can you see that okay, Jake?
We can see
Can
your
you see the,
screen, but we can't see
you can't see the graphic?
Not bigger, just a small version of it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's take another look then. Maybe I need to stop the share. I'll do that one more time. And if not, then I'll just work through it without the graphic. It's just a little more, I think maybe now that I have it open, is that better?
Yep, that's better.
Better? You can
Yep.
at least see it now?
Yep,
It's kind of in the middle of the screen now. Is that correct?
correct. Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, so what I'm showing on the screen here is called the comfort zone circle, and there's many versions of this if you're looking online, and it's about working through the different zones to go from comfort through to fear to learning and growth. So this is really how we grow and how we keep learning and growing. Most of us though needing to work through why sometimes we stay so long in that comfort zone. And so I'm going to go through some information here with regards to this circle chart, and I just want to give you a little bit of information first, and just letting you know that I was unable to find like a an author of this comfort zone. It looks like it comes from many different areas, and as I said, different versions of the comfort zone circle. I was able to do some research with regards to the different stages, the different zones. So I'll go through that today. And I've adapted my presentation from several different YouTube videos, and one that kind of just really, I guess, spoke to me, and I liked the way they presented, was Sitkin's Group Incorporated. And so this was mine is just kind of a variation of that, because I've included my own information as well. So the comfort zone is when a person feels at ease because they are not being tested. So that first zone. Inside the zone, people do not typically engage in new experiences or take on any new challenges. They only participate in activities that they are familiar with and activities that make them feel in control of their environment. So I think many of us can relate to that, right? Relate to, being comfortable, feeling safe and in control.
Used to be my
So this
favorite
is
zone.
Yes, I think I think many of us, right? And so it takes work, it takes, effort, taking action, maybe working on ourselves, our mindset, to be able to move through so that we don't get stuck. Not that comfort zone, like there's a time and a place for the comfort zone, because we need that. But then when we're ready for growth, moving through that fear zone, it can take some kind of work to move through that area. And so I'm just going to cover a few notes with regards to the comfort zone. Uh, this area, feeling of comfort, tells us that our basic needs are met. So we're feeling, like this is overall just a place of, um, as I said, comfort, but we can be relaxed in this zone. And why should we seek to abandon this feeling of comfort? So you ask yourself to close your eyes just for a moment. I want you to close your eyes and think about yourself performing at your highest level, at your very best version of yourself. So you're going to take a moment, you're taking some deep breaths and visualizing yourself in that place of performing at your highest level, in that place of just being your best self, feeling your best, performing where you can accomplish what you need to accomplish in a timely manner, and feeling joy through that. So just take a moment and do that. So you take that visualization, what you're imagining, and then think about these questions that I'm going to ask. So if you are finding that it's difficult to move through the comfort zone, what has been holding you back? What has prevented you from achieving that level of your best version of yourself or performing at your highest level? Be honest with yourself. Many people live in their comfort zone even though they can visualize themselves making changes to live differently. What holds people back most of the time is that their frame of mind it's their frame of mind rather than any distinct lack of knowledge. So often it's not that we can't move through the comfort zone into that learning and growth stage. We may even already have many of the skills needed. It's a mindset, and possibly we're sabotaging ourselves potentially in this area. Why don't we take the steps? Because the comfort zone is safe and secure, just as Jake had mentioned, right? We get really comfy there. May not be what we want. So maybe that thing that they're thinking about, that is a possibility that they think should be the vision, the goal, really isn't what they want. But it's what we know. So we tend to stay and hover back in that comfort zone because we're not ready to move through to the next stage. So that's in those of us that are working towards trading, learning trading, growing within the trading career field. We need to really be solid on our why and what keeps us growing forward, moving forward. Often what is holding us back in this comfort zones kind of stage is the fear. So the fear of moving forward. So just before I move into the fear area, fear zone, I just wanted to read a quote by Tony Robbins. So all growth starts at the end of your comfort zone. So we need to move through the comfort zone to start growing. So it makes a lot of sense, right? We want to take those steps to get to that next stage. And now the next stage, often that's holding us back, is the fear zone, which takes courage to step from the comfort zone into the fear zone. We often will have some lack of self-confidence in this area. We find excuses. I know this is possible, but I'm not prepared, or I don't know enough. I'm not ready. So we put this doubt in our mind. We often are feeling things that we know we should be doing, but we're not doing them. So we feel confused, maybe fear, maybe doubts. To break through the fear zone to the learning zone, we need to take steps to learn new skills, new things, take risks, take that step. So taking that first next step. We need to make the decision to do this, to take that next first step. So this can be challenging. This can be area of where we're working on our mindsets. We could be working with, a couple weeks ago, I talked about in our session affirmations, positive affirmations, putting positive thoughts, ideas, and that's how it allows us to grow through, move through the fear zone into the learning zone. So into this learning zone area, we need to start becoming consistent and improve our habits. Some days are going to be hard. Some days you will not feel like being consistent or doing the work to stay consistent. You may feel uncomfortable in this zone, outside of your comfort zone. You're dealing with challenges and problems in the learning zone. But then allows us to extend that comfort zone. So the comfort zone, that circle becomes bigger. So it doesn't, now we no longer are stuck in fear because we're in that learning side of things, in that learning stage. So when you start to do these things, be consistent, improve your habits, you'll gain confidence and momentum. Momentum is very powerful for moving forward. And I want you to start with the small wins. Like the small wins, they add up. They're accumulative. So for example, Jake starting each of us with the gratitude and showing our gratitude and being grateful on a daily basis. And not only, we know that this is the right thing to do, but writing it down or sharing it in the chat. So writing it for yourself or sharing it to the group creates new habits. It creates the mindset. So it creates a positive mindset and allows us to start looking at small gratitude, but also then bigger gratitude. So that's really how this momentum in the learning zone also helps us create new habits. And we start to start to see the habits that we're creating, these areas of being consistent and learning new things, improving the habits, gaining confidence, momentum, moves us into the achieving successes. So they achieving the success, this is like the bigger wins, the big vision. And we can celebrate these. Now, I want them to also be celebrated, though, at the smaller level. So we can have the big picture, but taking those smaller steps towards accomplishing small parts of the bigger goal, the bigger vision.
I love
This
that.
allows us to go ahead.
I was just saying, I love that. It's so important. And I feel like so often we get stuck in looking at the final goal and then wanting more and wanting bigger. And we forget to appreciate the little steps we've made. Like mansions and houses, they're not built in one fell swoop. They're built brick by brick. And each like brick you lay, you got to be proud of and be, find that gratitude. Like, yeah, look, I've made it one step closer. I've made it one little bit further, and like find and appreciate the work you've done, not look at and be discouraged by the work you've still got to go. And so I really like what you're saying there is like, appreciate those little successes.
Absolutely. I agree, Jake. It's because we could get overwhelmed with the work that still needs to be done.
Exactly.
Talking about that big house or big mansion, right? Like it doesn't just happen overnight. There's a lot of planning that comes in before even any um any equipment starts to even dig a hole for the foundation, right? And so we
Exactly.
need to be doing all those kinds, and that's really for us in our lives. That would be the metaphor for our mindset, staying strong, creating good habits, being consistent will then allow us to move through and, yes, be grateful for the little wins, the small steps. And sometimes those little wins can as feel like bigger accomplishments than the final finished goal
Yeah,
because it
definitely.
is right, because it is about the journey to get to that goal, to get to that achievement or to those successes. And
It's
yeah, really, really, really important.
kind of like that iceberg analogy, like 90% of an iceberg's underwater. We don't see most of it. And that's where, all the growth and support and strength comes from, not the little 10% that we see on top. It's like any of our challenges and goals. It's not the finish line. It's, a marathon runner doesn't like just clarify himself by crossing the line. It's all the work and the hours and the practice and the determination and the mindset and the struggles and, the brick, the wall that you hit at a certain level of running that you have to break through and all the mindset stuff. It's actually what it's about, not just that final cross of the line. So there's so much more that we have to be appreciative of and be proud of, rather than just crossing that finish line's great, but it doesn't
Yes.
come without all the other stuff that you were just talking about.
Absolutely. I like that example of like an athlete, high level athlete. There's so many sacrifices that they make. And do they love every step along the way? Well, no, not necessarily, right? But they learn to love it because that allows them to accomplish what they're wanting to accomplish in their lives. And
Exactly.
you think about how strict they need to be with regards to their health and wellness, like keeping themselves healthy and fit, and the foods they eat, and what they're putting in their mind to keep them, motivated, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I like that. So I think each of us, could go and find a top athlete, an Olympian, or somebody that is really accomplished in that area. Like I heard one time, it's like a past Olympian where they lived on skinless chicken breasts and steamed broccoli their entire athletic career, and I thought about what discipline, right?
Yeah.
Such discipline. And it's like, but they knew that's what they needed to do to give them the fuel they needed for their body, to allow themselves to take all the other steps that it took, right? Now, it was obviously more than just the food, but the food was part of one of the
Yeah, one bit of the
steps.
recipe. Yeah.
That's right, one bit of it. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's good. Thank you, Jake, for that that example, because I think that's a really meaningful one, and we can all learn through that.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah, each of these zones, they can challenge us in different ways, right? And so I think we need to take away what we learned from each of those stages. And what I wanted to say was that moving through the comfort zone to the fear zone, learning zone, and growth zone, it's not linear. It may not be linear, I should say. It might be for some situations, depending on what we're working on, but often there's going to be peaks, valleys, and plateaus throughout this journey of the comfort zone to the growth zone. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Because things are going to come up. We're going to have situations and responsibilities that we need to deal with, or we're going to come up against um, challenges that just challenge us more than we realized they would. And then sometimes that learning zone is going to be smoother because we already have some knowledge that allows us, we can go back to past experiences and draw upon that. And so yeah, not necessarily linear, but at the same time, a very, very overall allowing the process to happen And what I want to also say is we need to be kind to ourselves throughout this process. And that's really where I talked about the mindset coming in, and being consistent, not only in the steps and that we're wanting to accomplish towards our goal, but being consistent in how we treat ourselves, how we treat family and others around, because it can't be just about blocking everything else out, right? We want to be on this journey, and trading is a good example of that long term.
Yeah.
And really that we want it to be like a lifelong journey. And I come to this in a moment, talking about that lifelong endeavor. After the
Nice.
learning zone, a new comfort zone is created. So we expand the comfort zone after this learning zone, creating where one's ability to reach even greater heights starts to happen. Now this is what we're meaning to move to the growth zone. So we start to become that better self, that better version of ourselves, and we can keep expanding and growing upon that. So as I mentioned, the growth zone, my hope for everyone is that this is a lifelong endeavor, that we're always looking to grow, evolve, change, and be our very best version of ourselves in our personal lives, in our business lives, in our trading lives, and more, in our families, friendships. We want to keep growing, evolving, and changing, for this to be our lifelong endeavor.
Totally agree, because I think also like your comfort zone grows, as you
Oh,
go
absolutely.
and you grow and you go through the fear zone to the learning zone, and then you grow a
Hmm.
little bit, your comfort zone's now gotten bigger. And if you stop growing,
Yes.
your comfort zone kind of expands to where the edge of that growth zone is. So then you have to go through that fear and that learning and that growth again. Where if you just continuously, as you said, consistently keep
Hmm.
learning and growing, you don't actually fall back into that comfort and fear, because learning and growing becomes comfortable, if that makes
That's
sense.
right. It absolutely, it
And
becomes part of your comfort zone. Like
yeah,
there's people, we know there's people that just thrive in that environment, right? And I
exactly.
know, yeah, and I know that I've always called myself a lifelong learner, and I absolutely am. I do find though that I I will take, I guess, like kind of little mini breaks. I'll give myself an opportunity to settle into what I've learned, so that that growth stage maybe takes a little bit longer, because I want to take what I've learned, absorb it, apply it, and then, as you said, the comfort zone expands. So now that knowledge base is larger, bigger. I feel more comfortable in who I am. So now comfort zone is bigger, and then there's other areas that I become more natural. Like it becomes more natural, and maybe for somebody it's a fear of heights, right? So as you work through that fear, work through taking the steps of, okay, what is it that I need to do to not be afraid of heights, or less afraid of heights, right? So if you take those steps, well, eventually the comfort zone is going to be bigger. So now, oh, I can walk across that bridge because I've done the work that needs to be done to cross the bridge that's very high up. I'm no longer as fearful. I may not be
Hmm.
somebody that's ready to jump out of a plane skydiving, but my comfort zone is bigger in that regard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So I'll get back into this growth zone, and just there's a few other kind of areas within the growth zone. So we talk about, this is the area where we find our purpose. We increase the capacity in the growth zone. We grow beyond our goals. So then we start having goals that we didn't even realize we could ever have. They weren't even part of who we were, but because we've grown, and we've um, challenged ourselves along the way, we start to set new goals and new priorities, like I say, beyond the goals we ever thought possible. What you did during the learning stage towards the growth zone. So through this, we're working towards growing. The growth zone is powerful. So just ask yourself, did you become, like, what did you learn? So we want to do the takeaways through the learning growth zone. Did we become more healthy, more joy in our lives, more active? Just how did that affect you? This process of achieving your goal and your successes. So reflect back. And you talked about that, Jake. Don't just run to the next goal, okay, what is the next thing that I want to accomplish? Actually really reflect on, what went good, what would I do differently, and be proud of yourself, because this is the powerful zone. This growth zone is so powerful. Be accountable in this zone, accountable to your actions, not about blaming others in this zone. What did I fail to do? What did I accomplish? What didn't I accomplish? Where did I not lead myself effectively? So these are the ways that we can expand and grow even further within the growth zone as we do this reflection. Not only about the goals you have set for yourself, but it's also about the journey to accomplish your goals. What you learned about yourself through the journey. So this is all, maybe you do a little bit of note taking, journaling, get some ideas down so
Tracking.
that tracking, absolutely tracking. So we do that in trading, right? Track what we're doing so that we can then make even those smallest changes to improve long term. And I always talk about be more efficient, right? I don't want to keep recreating exactly the same thing each day. And if there's um, it's not successful, well, I want to get on top of that and figure out why it isn't successful so that I can take the right steps through the growth stage in the future. So as I said before, growth is lifelong, lifelong journey, move through the success, pardon me, to the significance. So from those goals, achieving the goals becomes significant in our lives. So if we stop growing and you start to become stagnant or stuck, why would you want to be complacent or stagnant? So just to kind of ask yourself these questions. Again, it's okay to get comfortable and expand the comfort zone, but really you don't want to stop growing, even if it's just in a small way. Challenge yourself throughout the rest of your life. As you work on yourself, you become very much your best version of yourself. You're filling up your cup, or the growth that you've achieved, right? So if you think about this body, this um, the lovely beautiful body of ourselves, the spirit, the mental capacity, as we fill up this area through the growth stage. Now we're at a point where we go from what I talked about, success to significant, or achieving the goals. So when we've done that, now we can start to give back. We can help others. We can help others find their direction. We can take some steps to help them with finding their purpose. It's not about doing it for others, but it's becoming maybe a mentor, or doing like what Jake's doing here with a mindset call. So just finding ways to help others become their very best selves, and as they go through the comfort zone stages and really the journey of life. Because really this is all about, we're going to keep going back to each of these stages, and keep growing, keep learning, and move through the fear. Don't let the fear, what do I want to say, allow us to get stagnant or stuck. Move through those stages. So I wanted to read here a quote from Nelson Mandela. May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. So I thought that was pretty
Nice.
powerful, right? May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. So hopes could be your goals, your dreams, your vision, and then don't let the fears get in the way of those, right? Beautiful. Thought that was really powerful. So anyone have any questions or anything they'd like to contribute in this area? Any questions around the comfort zone I might be able to answer? I did some research on it, kind of reflected back in my own life. So if there's anything, go ahead and just let us know. I realized I don't have the chat open, so maybe there's something in there. Better take
Yeah,
a
well,
look.
I will touch back on something Lorraine said. She said, and I had the
Okay.
exact same thing for ages. My challenge is being stuck between the learning zone and the growth zone. I think my goals have been too lofty and I need to step back and take smaller steps. And I could not agree with you more. I did the same thing for so long. And I still find myself following this trap where you're like, okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. You get past the fear and you start learning something new. You start learning something new. You start learning something new. And then you just kind of like hit this wall or this overwhelmed state of like, oh, I've learned all this stuff. Like there's so much to do. And the one word that I think is going to need to stick in your mind to break through this from the learning to the growth is action. The difference between learning zone and growth zone is simply taking action. And there is nothing complicated about it, just taking action. Take what you learn and just fucking do it. Like so often I learn everything, and like this was my old me. I'd learn everything and I'd know everything about the topic to the T, and I would do zero about it. And I'd wonder why I'm not growing, why I'm not getting results, why I'm not expanding. And then I think I shared this actually, I think it was even last time that you were speaking, Deanna. It was the learn action. So left foot, right foot. And we have to find the balance of learning is our left foot, action is our right foot. And in order to progress forward from A to B, we have to go learn, action, learn, action, learn, action. I learned this from Fraser Brooks. And then on the contrary, if we don't, we just go learn, 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 learn. You just end up turning around in a circle. If you just take action without tracking and learning and progressing, you're just going to go around in a circle the other way. And so
Yes, I understand.
it's
Yeah,
a
you need the action. It's
really
important, right?
important balance to go
Yeah.
learn, action. And as you said, it's you might have those lofty dreams, and but when you've got like learn and then actions like 17,000 stairs in once, you'd be
Oh,
like, oh, this is
yes.
just unreasonable. And so it's better to do that. Learn something, take action on it. Learn something, take action on it. Learn something, take action on it, and just step by step and
Yes.
slowly progress yourself up. So
Okay.
I've been trying to teach myself this and maneuver from that learn everything and then having to jump like 10 meters high in one bound, which is never going to happen, to learn a little bit, take action, learn a little bit, take action, learn a little bit, take action. So hopefully that helps.
Yes, I can relate to that, Jake, because definitely at the beginning of my trading journey, I just kept learning. Now I want to keep learning. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to stop. But what I was doing, I was just in learning mode for a little too long, is what happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't take the action. And then I would look back and I think, well, a whole year has gone by and I haven't taken any action.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so
The
I
time
guess I
gets
took
away
the
from you, doesn't
action
it?
to do the learning, but okay, now I need to do the real
implement
part, right?
implement
Like
the
the
learning.
implementing, the
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then if I need to go back, so then I made a decision. There'll be times I'll need to go back and do more learning and maybe in-depth learning, but it doesn't need to be all at one time, right? Like you said, take the do the learning and then take the action, do the implementation.
Yeah.
If you know, and on with trading, it could be a demo account. Even if you're, learning that specific strategy, now practice on a demo account, and that would be, the best way to do that. And then take that. So then, really, it's like a two-stage step of action: demo first, then live for that strategy. So yes, I think we can take these all these areas and apply really to each of our areas of our lives to just have a more fulfilled life overall. So
Yeah.
I
And
appreciate, I appreciate that feedback, Jake.
just
And
in the
Lorraine,
chat
you're
there.
not alone. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So I just again in the chat, like something I have to do is stop and recognize the goals that I've reached and then move on. The recognition is a big part of the action, which
Oh,
is totally
yeah.
true, because this is what I was talking about before. Like, what is our relationship? Like this week I've been talking about relationships, relationship with money, relationship with self. And if you don't stop and look at the goals that you've achieved and like the progress that you've made, you're kind of just dismissing all the work you've done. Like you got to build that relationship with self and go, hey, fuck yeah, Jake, pat on the back. Look what you've done this week. It doesn't matter that you haven't gotten a 7-figure trading account by tomorrow, because if you
Hmm.
just rocked up with a 7-figure trading account tomorrow, you wouldn't know what to do with yourself. You'd be like, you wouldn't feel like you earned it. You wouldn't feel like you deserved it. You wouldn't feel like you went through the struggles and that you're actually deserving of these things. But if
Hmm.
you have a good
Hmm.
relationship with yourself and go, yeah, like I did this today and I built this little part of me today and I've made this few steps today, like good on you. Give yourself a break, give yourself a pat on the back. And then you can move forward with some like high self-esteem and some positivity and some like prowess in yourself onto the next one. Rather than going, yeah, I've achieved that. What's next? What's next? What's next? Oh, I haven't made it to the end already. It's
Yes.
that unrealistic expectations or the exaggerated expectations of yourself without actually having that respect for yourself and building that relationship of self to be proud of the things
Hmm.
you've done.
That's so good. Yeah, be proud of yourself, right? Allow yourself to let it really sink in and absorb that, I did that work. I went through those challenges. I acquired new skills to get to this growth level and accomplish the goals that I wanted to accomplish. But let's be really proud of that. So absolutely,
Exactly.
Jake. Good. Well, I see that I did go over. I didn't watch the time today. I apologize. I was
That's
just
okay.
kind of, I was just kind of, I was in the zone. I was in the
You're in the
zone of,
zone.
I
You're
was,
growing
yes.
our knowledge.
Yeah,
I love it.
that's right. That's right. So I guess
That's
today we had a little flexibility, so I appreciate
yeah,
you allowing that to happen. And today we'll not have a meditation, just based on the time amount that we've met our time, really past our time. I'll do one for next Thursday. That'll be the focus next Thursday.
perfect. I look forward to it. Yeah, thank you so much for that. The comfort zones is a really massive thing, and I think the ability to learn and understand which zone we're in and
Hmm.
move through them with fluidity and understand that they keep growing, and as should we, is extremely important. And you know, we had Thanksgiving today, so it's finding thanks, finding gratitude for ourselves. We didn't have a trading course. There's no problem going a little bit over. I think there
Okay,
was some
thank you.
very good value that you were sharing with us, which I'm very appreciative of. So
You're very welcome.
thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
For those of you listening on the podcast, I will see you tomorrow, traders. There is no session today, as we just discussed. So please enjoy Thanksgiving, enjoy the day off, have some time with family, send your mum a thank you message. And if there's nothing else, I think I'll leave it at that. And we'll
Yeah.
speak again tomorrow.
Have a great day.
All right. Thank you very
Take
much. Bye,
care.
everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.